This is the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
The following contest is scheduled for one fall.
Let's go nuts! It's Jimmy Nuts! Drive out with a car!
With your hosts, Mark Martinez.
Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
And the English Professor.
It's called a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Hey, this is former WWE superstar Duke, the Dumpster Drosy, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another edition of Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. I'm kind of in the mood today, guys, and I'm going light on the alcohol. Do you believe that?
No.
Yeah.
At least for now, you're light on the alcohol.
I'm going light. I haven't had anything in 2 days. Just kind of, I'm not saying down in the dumps, but just, water's my friend. It's really hot, too, and I don't want to drink and get miserable. I'll have some with you guys, as Chad and I are drinking the seltzers. The English Professor in Pittsburgh has got his Yingling. Guys, welcome to the show. I'm your host, Mark Martinez, in studio with the guru, Chad, and in the lapse of luxury, once again, the English Professor.
No blueberry, whatever the hell I had last week. Just
Bitch juice?
Exactly. Yeah. I still have that case of beer, so I'm having a beer.
So how was you guys this week non-wrestling? I really did not talk to you guys this week because I've worked and played video games. I have been nothing but a fat 43-year-old Cartman.
John?
I didn't do a whole lot this week either. Not nearly as much. I had plans to do things. I had plans to get back to the gym often. I did, but not as often as I would have liked. I had plans to work on a couple of side projects. I didn't do that either. I don't know what happened this week. I don't know if it was just the oppressive heat, but I didn't feel like doing a whole lot.
Nothing but reading books and staying inside as much as possible. That frickin' humidity in that.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad. John, I'm sorry, you don't get to join us. We got a link sent to us from Can Crusher alum Amber Nova. In studio right now, we're kind of recording and watching Team Vision Dojo that you can watch on Twitch. Guys, I don't know, what we've been watching for an hour now, Chad, roughly. This is good stuff. Every 2 weeks they put on a show, so head over to Twitch, sign up for Twitch is free, guys. You'll be able to watch Team Vision Dojo, and Amber Nova's match was already, and she won, but this is good stuff.
Yeah, it's not bad. Very clear as far as the picture and everything. I mean, there's things they could work on, obviously, but it's worth more than some of the stuff that's put on.
Yeah, we've seen some bad stuff, John, right?
Yeah, for sure. So you guys are watching while recording. That's cool. I wish I was there.
Yeah, well, get your ass out of quarantine, and then
Drive 3 hours and come over, right?
Right, and then you can drink some seltzers and whatever with us. Guys, we're going to switch it up this week. We're actually going to talk about the show first that was sent in by Nick Opoliski. Nick, I blew your name again. Opoliski? Oh, Nick. Nick sent it in.
Nick will work.
Yeah. And it is Smack 'em and Whack 'em, WWE Coliseum video. And I told you guys last week, I kind of started when he asked me to watch it, and it was a Coliseum video. I don't know how we want to break this down because it's really all over the place. Chad's disgusted with it. Disgusted. He watched minuscule amount of time. But I loved it.
I fully expected to hate it, but I loved it. We'll get into it. But I was like Chad. I thought I am just going to hate this, but I just let myself have fun with it.
That's what I did too, John. I really did. And it starts off, first of all, Nick has been listening. It starts off with Lord Alfred Hayes. I said, when we watch something from Coliseum Video, I want to see Lord Alfred Hayes. First person you see, Lord Alfred Hayes. So he wins.
And you got a lot of him.
You got
a lot of him in this video.
Yeah. It starts off with him and the Bushwhackers going to fix up a house. Man, it's like me and you fixing up a house, John.
It's like when we were on Stage Crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it as bad as Bobby Heenan and the Bushwhackers in the jungle or wherever the hell?
Exactly worse.
Okay.
Yeah, if you understood that. Yeah, exactly worse.
I don't know what was going on. What were they built? Why were they building this house? Was it for Lord Alfred Hayes?
It was going to be.
I missed the point of it. I missed the point of building this house, this rec room.
It was going to be the rec house, not W.
The Bushwhackers?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, not Lord Alfred. He was just there to be like a safety coordinator.
Was this in New Zealand where the Bushwhackers live, or was this in England where Lord Alfred Hayes lives?
We have that.
They didn't cover that.
Memphis, Tennessee, probably.
Yeah. We'll have to ask Nick. Nick probably knows a little bit more about this than us, so hopefully Nick can send us some guidance. We did get a match right off the bat. It's the Berserker taking on Kona Crush. And it's funny because last week's wrestling that we talked about was in Tupelo, Mississippi, or Missouri, wherever the hell it is. And I brought up how that arena looked like the arena from Erie, Pennsylvania that we went to. And this first match was from Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Yeah. Funny things. You know what I learned from this match? That the great American history. They talked about the Liberty Bell, the Bill of Rights. They talked little about this match. But it was a great opening match. As matches go, it was good.
Yeah, it was fine. Two powerhouse guys doing some power moves. Crush was... Demolition was obviously over, and Crush disappeared for a little while. Smash disappeared and became Repo Man. More on that in a minute. And Crush kind of went back to his roots. Kona, Hawaii. Match was okay. It ends with the Kona Crush, where Crush gets behind his guy and squeezes his head like a pineapple or an apple or a coconut or something. I don't know. And Berserker didn't quit. It seemed the referee took it upon himself to stop the match. He was non-responsive, so.
Berserker, we saw in one of our older ones that we watched, teamed with Bruiser Brody, and I said he reminded me of Brody so much. Not this guy. You know, John Nord, or John the Barbarian, yeah. But when they made him a Berserker, whew, they did it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of took the whole Brody thing and the boots and everything like that to a whole new shitty level with that one.
The Viking experience multiplied. Yeah.
Yep.
So we're back with the Bushwhackers, and now they're putting a window in, and they're just throwing sledgehammers trying to get it. It's comic. It's comical. It's fun. If you just take the time and enjoy this, I think it was an hour and 35 minutes. It was 93 is when this came out, I believe. So what were we, sophomores? If we go back to our sophomore
16,
years,
17, yeah.
Yeah, it fits perfect. Our mentality was right there. Still is.
Yeah. And exactly. And what are you going to do? You're going to take all of that out and add another match? For what? Let's watch the Bushwhackers tear down walls instead.
Next match we get is the Repo Man, who is the worst gimmick, right?
Absolutely. He won.
For the Can Crushers, taking on Earthquake. And legit, this was a squash match. This was Earthquake being good. It was a bad match.
Yeah. This was, I think Gorilla Monsoon said that Repo Man had defeated Typhoon at some point. So this was revenge for Earthquake. It wasn't any good. I'm sorry. I'm a big fan of Barry Darsow, but this wasn't any good.
Back to more whackers. It is safety first, and Lord Alfred Hayes getting shocked was amazing. You could tell it's the 90s. The effects is the word I'm looking for. The effects were so hokey. You know, you look at that now 30 years ago, bro, that it's unbelievable.
Oh, shit. It just occurred to me when you said back to more whackers, Bushwhackers, Smack 'em and Whack 'em or whatever it's called, and it had the Bushwhackers. That makes perfect sense now.
Where did that come from?
I don't know, but you got the first F-bomb of the week. I didn't even think of that, but good point. Good point. That's why they were the hosts.
Yeah. You said back to more whackers, and oh wow, the bushwhackers. All right, I see the connection now.
Then we have another kind of little vignette that this lasted a long time. It really did. Mean Gene is with Yokozuna and Mr. Fuji, and they're at a hibachi grill, and Yokozuna eats about 50 pounds of rice, a cow, a bull, 17 chickens, and after like two pieces of sushi, Mean Gene's like, oh my god, how can you eat all this? And Fuji kept saying, every day.
I loved this. I loved it. Mr. Fuji enjoys the finer things in life. You guys remember in the early 80s, mid 80s, he had Lord Alfred Hayes invited him to English tea time, and he brought Moondog Spot with him. And Moondog just wrecked shit, smashed a table, smashed that fine china with his bone, wrecked the cups and the saucers and everything. So Mr. Fuji made it up to him by inviting him to Japanese tea time, and he had a geisha serving them. And she spilled a glass or something, and Fuji, make her suffer, I'll beat her later. It was horrible. And Vince McMahon and Lord Alfred was like, no, really, we're not offended. You don't have to do that. He's like, no, she offended my guest by spilling tea, and she will suffer the consequences. And now we see he has Mean Gene Okerlund, and he says, Gene, eat. And Mean Gene says, no, I want to wait for Yokozuna to eat, and you eat, and then I'll join you. He says, no, you're our guest. Eat. Mr. Fuji's a nice guy, you guys. He really is a great host. He wants his guests to feel at home.
You're taking way too much out of this.
He yelled at that guy, too, Mean Gene would ask a question so how long have you been doing this? How do you flip that? And the guy's like, I've been doing this 6 years. He goes, you flip it. He's like, hey, what is up? You almost want to eat. And the guy's, oh, shit, sorry. And, he gets back to chopping chicken. And don't mess around. Just do your job, or Fuji's going to get pissed off.
Then we get Gorilla and Bret Hart standing outside of some arena. It leads into 3 matches with Bret Hart. The first one was when Bret was Intercontinental Champion. Bret Hart against Shawn Michaels with Sherry. Mike McGurk was the announcer. Did you realize that?
Yep.
I think this might have been the first ever ladder match in WWE F at that time. Gorilla Monsoon didn't understand these rules at all. That you have to climb the ladder and just get the belt. That was it. Why is the ladder in the ring? It shouldn't be in the ring when they're wrestling. It should only be in when they're down. But this was kind of like the prelude to Shawn getting ready for the Razor stuff, right?
Yeah. Lord Alfred Hayes didn't quite get the rules either. He got less of them than Gorilla Monsoon did. Yeah, I can't remember the question he had, but it was the dumbest question anyone's ever asked about a ladder match. The belt gets, hangs from the ceiling, and the first one to reach it and pull it down wins. You could see, this was really good, but you could see, as you said, Mark, he was working on some things for the following year with Razor Ramon. And some of the same things happened, particularly the finish where he's just about on top of the ladder and Bret pushes it over and he gets crotched on the ropes and then gets tied up in the ropes. That was WrestleMania 10's finish. This was fun. These guys, they can't have a bad match. I know they both hate where the ropes broke and the Hart Foundation lost the tag team championship. They both want to forget that match. I thought that was great, and I don't use that word lightly. Montreal was garbage compared to everything else they've ever done. I thought that match was great. These guys cannot have a bad match.
Yeah, I agree.
If they're both on the same page, so to speak, not pissed at each other, and that as much as I hate Shawn Michaels, he's a good performer. I never thought he was somebody that could carry a match necessarily. I thought he was more of somebody that would have just a barn burner, so to speak, if he had the right opponent.
And Brett was kind of it.
And yeah, I mean, Brett was a little bit opposite of him, enough to separate them attitude-wise, everything like that. But you had the technical, you had the, fireworks with Michaels and everything like that. So they kind of complemented each other. It's just too bad that shit went on with them that it did, because I think there could have been a lot more out of them when they were in their prime.
Agreed. Brett wins all these matches, by the way. Next match is Brett against Kamala with Harvey Wippleman, okay? Kim Chi, and did you notice who the referee was? No? Bill Alfonso was the referee. John's like, who the hell's Bill Alfonso? The guy with Taz and Sabu, blew the whistle, your favorite guy? Yeah. You love him.
Yep. I do, yeah.
When you watch ECW. When you watch ECW all the time, that was your favorite.
Yep, those were the days.
Those were the days.
This was a surprisingly good match.
It was. It was for the heavyweight championship. So they kind of did this a little bit out of whack, because the next match is the one that really does it. But this was a good match. I'm telling you, the more we get to see some Kamala stuff that we're going back, man, he was underappreciated and underrated all around. He was a big man. I always say it's Bam Bam Vader, Vader Bam Bam. Now Kamala doesn't move and somersault and everything like him, but he moves his weight well. He does a great job in that ring. So props to Kamala.
His leapfrog is as good as anybody's. And I don't mean Sheldon Benjamin jumping and touching the ceiling, but anybody else's.
Okay, mine.
Sorry.
Now,
Right, better than yours. Yeah.
Kamala was out for a few years before Vader
Yeah.
started coming in. Yeah, because I remember best things that I've seen with Kamala is Magnum TA. They had a couple of matches. Jim Duggan, Lawler. You can find all these on YouTube. I come across them every so often. The matches that he had with Magnum TA were just absolutely, just brutal. It was Kamala beating the shit out of Magnum TA for most of the match.
Yeah.
Magnum gets the belly to belly, which I didn't think he'd be able to do on a guy like Kamala. Those were good matches. You're absolutely right, Chad.
Brett gets the win after everybody gets involved, more or less, even Alfonso. Brett gets the roll-up victory here to kind of sneak away with the victory over the big guy. Then we get the match of Brett taking on Ric Flair, never seen before. Well, we had to have watched this live, didn't we?
Mm-mm.
We did not watch this live?
No, this wasn't, I don't want to say a house show. It was a show that they were just videotaping. They were going to use parts of it.
Well, it was in Brett's hometown.
The only thing that they really showed of this was probably about the last 5 minutes and Brett winning the title. It was basically treated like a house show, but it wasn't, okay, just throw everybody in Bryce Jordan Center and none of this you're ever going to see again.
Right.
They did tape some of it for that.
Match of the videotape, by the way. Match of the videotape.
Absolutely, yeah. To kind of expand on what Chad's saying, when the show came on that Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon, I was 11 o'clock, noon, whatever, me and Gene Okerlund is standing on that podium where he would interview everybody, and he says, "Ladies and gentlemen, the new World Wrestling Federation champion." And I thought Ultimate Warrior, because he was back, and he'd been gunning for Ric Flair. When he said Bret Hart, I could still remember, I lost my shit. I ran around the back of my dad's pizzeria because I was watching a little TV. I couldn't believe it. I thought Bret was done. He had his 2 tag team titles. He had his 2 intercontinental titles. Pedro Morales had been touted as the only person to ever hold everything. I didn't think anybody else would do it. And when I heard Bret won, I lost my mind. And then what they did show, you're right, Chad, at the very end, they show like that superplex and then the sharpshooter finish. But that's all anybody really ever saw unless you watched it on this tape. What can you say, man? 30 minutes roughly of these two guys at their best. Flair in the WWF was really special.
Yeah, you almost wish.
This is,
go ahead.
very quickly, this was him needing to lose the belt, is my understanding, because he had just won it back from Macho Man, and he was supposed to stick around. He was supposed to have, he said in his book, another year, maybe longer title reign, and he was sick or something. His equilibrium was off. He couldn't walk straight. So they said, we need to get the belt off of you, and then unfortunately it was kind of downhill for him from there. But this is him maybe not even at 100%. This is him when he was sick, and unbelievable match. Unbelievable.
No, that's more or less what you almost wish Rick had a longer career with some of the guys, Brett and those guys in the WWF at that time, because he could have had more of these matches. Where was he? Probably 40 at this time? Close to it? No, not Brett. Flair.
Yeah, I would imagine so, yeah.
Yeah.
But Flair, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. If he was wrestling before we were born, Mark.
Right.
75, 76. This is 93. Yeah, that's 17 years later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got to be in his 40s, I would imagine.
So, Chad's looking it up. Then we go back to the house building again, and they hit a water line, and the whole fish comes out of the water line. Lord Alfred Hayes is drenched. Guys, it's just hokey. We're not doing enough for it. It's ridiculous, but it's great.
Flair was born in 1949, and he had his first professional match in 72.
All right, so 49.
Wow. So 51.
40, 44.
Yeah.
See? Holy shit, I didn't realize he was that old.
No way I could move like that. I'm 43 and I couldn't move like that.
I know.
30 years ago.
I could not. Yeah, I could not take a superplex right now.
And that's after the airplane accident and his back and everything like that. That he still had the best years.
Yeah.
And the best matches of his life after that, that's a testament. Even though he, liked the women and the booze and most likely the drugs and everything like that. That shows how good a shape he was in.
Yeah.
Then we get the main event, and it's The Undertaker taking on Razor Ramon. This was a good match for what it was. I didn't like.
Yep.
I didn't like the ending, but John, go ahead, gush over your boy.
I was a huge fan of both of these guys, particularly Razor Ramon. So this was a lot of fun. This was the early to mid '90s super colorful characters. Even though The Undertaker was all about being dark, still a colorful character. A lot of fun. Two good friends too. Who knew at the time? But Mark Calloway and Scott Hall were good friends who came up together early on in their careers. That's about it. Just, Undertaker, no selling. Razor keeps knocking him down. Undertaker keeps getting back up. Razor gets bounced around, bumped around a little bit. Fun match. And when it got too hot, Razor took a walk.
This was my favorite Undertaker. The very first Undertaker was my favorite Undertaker, with Paul Bearer. I mean, God rest his soul, with Paul Bearer and the real urn instead of the multi-incarnations it was about. And then after this one, I'd like the Ministry one, where he was crucifying Steph and everybody, and he had some notable characters in there, notable in question marks. But I never liked the
quotation marks.
Yeah, did I say question marks? I did. I'm thinking about the question mark because I miss them so much. But whatever. I digress.
That one with when he was in the Ministry and everything, I think was his darkest incarnation of it, and he looked like some Satan worshipping son of a bitch in a Clive Barker movie or something.
Who the hell is Clive Barker?
Oh, he's done a lot of horror movies.
The Ministry. Sorry.
No,
go ahead.
No, you're good.
The Ministry was great. The corporate Ministry where they merged, that struck me as Vince being like, "Oh, this is really cool. I want to be part of it."
Of course,
the corporate Ministry. Yeah, exactly. But the Ministry, where the Brood came in, the Acolytes came in, Mabel was now Viscera, and
Finian.
all did his bidding. Yeah, Midian. Phineas became Midian. Yeah, fun stuff. I enjoyed that. Fun time.
And then to wrap up the video, Lord Alfred Hayes is all cleaned up. The guys get him a TV. They said he can watch more Coliseum videos. As they're leaving, it sounds like the TV or the whole house falls on him or something. Overall, it's an hour and a half. I've seen worse. I've seen better, but it was entertaining. I liked it. I really did. I'll start. I give it middle of the pack. I give it 4. I give it 4.
I'll say 4.5. I enjoyed it.
You know, I didn't watch it because I forgot.
That's all right. You
Gives
can
it
at least
incomplete.
fake it. Yeah, you get it incomplete until we watch something. You have to watch something. When we watch the next thing, you have to watch it twice then. All right?
This one and that one, or the same event
No,
twice?
the same one. You'll have to watch whatever we watch next week
I'll
twice.
be right on that.
Right. All right. So, overall, a good card. We liked it. Again, thanks, Nick, for sending that in. And you guys, if you want to send some more in, go ahead. Let's announce this right now, because we already have some questions flowing in. I threw it up on Facebook and I threw it up on Instagram already that July 26th, in 2 weeks, we're going to have Ask Can Crushers 3. And 2 mega questions already in from a fan and an IWC wrestler, and I'll leave it at that. Guys, these are going to blow your mind already. These guys just keep pumping the questions in already, and they get better. They really do. These guys are great. Our fans, I'm saying.
And this is why Mark sucks, because Chad and I is off his arms to at least get a hint or something, but he's not budging. We don't know who it is. We don't know what they're asking.
It's all right, John, because, you know, Mark's jealous of our knowledge and
I
being
am.
able to recall stuff. And,
That's
you know,
right.
he tries to catch us off guard and make him look bad. And we just, you know, bitch slap him back down to his producer level, and we're good.
Chad,
You're right.
I can't disagree that I'm jealous of both of you guys' memory. I'm not. You've heard that the concussions and just so much that if I don't write it down, I don't remember my birthday.
You know, before we go on, I want to bring up something I just come across totally random. A YouTube video of a young Butch Reed challenging Ric Flair.
Not the natural. That was my favorite.
No, this. You probably won't recognize him. If you turn the volume off, you'd be like, "Who is this guy?" Because he's kind of chubby. He's not jacked up or whatever. Butch Reed against Ric Flair. It ended up being a non-title match, but just a random match that come up when I was scrolling. Holy hell! What a good freaking match! And it was a TV match. David Crockett, Jim Ross there. We've always talked about the things that you could get away with saying back then that you can't say now. And Ric Flair over national television says to Jim Ross, "Get this monkey out of the ring,"
Holy
talking
shit.
about Butch Reed. And it was like, and I mean, my first reaction was like, oh shit, that's right, this is like 40 years ago. I was like, oh shit, that ain't good.
It's on YouTube.
Flair had some zingers in Jim Crockett Promotions that you're just like, holy shit.
And
Wow. Yeah, they would not fly today.
And you're really surprised if you think about it back then, the stuff that he got away with, the stuff that was gotten away with there, being in the Bible Belt
Yeah.
and everything like that, you'd have think, especially the Crockett's, I can't remember what the Mrs. Crockett's first name is.
Mrs. Crockett.
Mrs. Okay. I could just see her at that time just beating the shit out of these guys for saying something
With
like
a wooden
that.
spoon?
She'd probably be using a fucking boat paddle or something.
All right.
Anyway, random shit there.
Guys, head over to Collar and Elbow. 2 weeks ago, they released their summer gear, I guess you want to call it. New designs, new shirts, new hats out there now as well. Hats, hoodies, and tees, all are at collarandelbow.com. And we'll give you 10% off by using the code Can Crushers. All one word. Capital C in Can, capital C in Crushers. And Chad, just like that, our wrestling is over. Apparently, it is only an hour-and-a-half show. So Team Dojo
Nope, it's back.
It's back. Nonetheless, Can Crushers gets you 10% off. We'll be back to talk AEW and the Great American Bash.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. Two entities working together to create a product that connects emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Tune in for a tune-up. You're listening to Can Crushers with Amber Nova.
And welcome back to Can Crushers. Now, let's talk about some wrestling that went on this week. And I don't know. I mean, it was pretty important. You had Fyter Fest Part 2, as I put Fyter Feast. Fyter Fest Part 2 or NXT Great American Bash Part 2. Well, where do you guys want to start? Because both of them were great shows. And I'll give you my overall when we're done talking about both of them.
Yeah, both were really good. Let's start with AEW.
Alphabetically. There we go. That's what I like there, Professor.
Perfect. That's why I said that.
Exactly. See? Set them up, knock them down. We are the best six-man tag team champs out there right now, right?
We are.
We are.
Absolutely.
So, Fyter Fest Part 2 starts with Private Party against Hangman and Omega for the titles. I don't know which one of you said it last week, or if I said it, but we knew this match was just going to be just a carryover. It really was. The titles remain on Hangman and Omega. Good match, but okay match.
Yeah, I like Hangman a lot.
I love Hangman.
Yeah, he's becoming one of my favorites. I'm still kind of on the fence about Omega. I don't love him. And I wanted to really like Private Party. They're okay. You know, they're okay. I want to like them more than I do. I don't love them. And I didn't love this match. I still think the best tag team wrestling is in AEW. I didn't love this match.
I liked it. I thought it was, it was above average, not great. I think what hurt AEW across the board versus NXT was the matches just were too predictable. The winners. There wasn't anybody you didn't really, holy shit, this guy may win. No, he may win. Everything just seemed to be a little bit predictable, but this was a good match.
And it was tag team heavy again this week. John spoke that it is it's the best. I agree. It is the best tag team division in wrestling, without a doubt. But we don't need to see every team every week. And again, I'll bite my lip when I talk about WWE, and I have a strong question for both of you guys. But we don't need to see everybody, and we kind of saw all the big teams by the end of the night at least once.
Do you think that they're doing that, especially now, just to grab some ratings? Because they've not been doing it before. You maybe had those two little young bucks or whatever the hell they are, young possums or whatever. You didn't see them wrestling every week before. You'd maybe have a taped promo or something like that. I think they're doing it, honestly, to try to grab wrestling because the tag team, like you guys have said, it's their strong point right now. Without fans being in the arena, I think their tag team is their strength of their show right now.
And it's funny, John, let me jump in real quick. It's funny that you brought that up, and since they've done that, they lost this week again.
3 weeks in a row.
It's now 3 weeks in a row.
I'm still going to
But
call bullshit on last week. There's no way in hell.
I still say 50,000 either way is not a loss to either one of them. So,
How big of a loss was it this week? You know?
I don't know. It was not as.
Yeah.
I don't think it was as big as last week's loss.
Yeah. Which
So.
is interesting because, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, and I don't want to get ahead of the show here. NXT is immediately available, right? On
I believe so. Boom.
WWE Network.
Yeah, boom. Go right back.
So, yeah, why would you bother watching it live if you can watch it at any time? So watch AEW and then watch NXT, unless people like NXT that much more, they'd rather not watch AEW.
It's like the whole Raw versus Nitro. Raw only played once, so you watched Raw. During commercials, you would flip.
Great point.
But then at 11 o'clock on a Monday night, and we had to go to school the next day, we said, screw it, in the pizzeria. And then we flipped over and we watched all of Nitro, and then I went home at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Every Monday.
Yeah, great point. To kind of answer Chad's question a little bit, they're showcasing the teams maybe for ratings. The teams in AEW do their best work in the ring. I think there's some singles guys that give great promos. I think there's some singles guys with terrific mouthpieces. I don't know a tag team that talks a good game. No one comes to mind, I'm afraid. Not even FTR. Hangman is a lot of fun. I still don't see how he and Omega go together, but it's night and day as far as like personas, as far as mic work, with Omega and Hangman. But I don't think there's a strong team in that division as far as promos go. So I guess you showcase them in the ring.
I kind of just thinking of this, John, while you were talking about, if you go back to the heydays, to the early mid '80s, and that when you had all the great tag teams from Road Warriors, the Hart Foundation, everybody, Rock and Roll Midnight. None of the tag teams that I can remember, except for Ricky Morton on the Rock and Roll Express, they all had a speaker for them. You had the Paul Ellering, you had the Jim Cornette, and I think I don't want to say they're going back to that because you'll never duplicate that time period talent-wise, but the tag team division in wrestling has always been more about quality than the talk. The singles guys had to get themselves over or get people interested more because it's just one-on-one. Two guys, you're going to see them the whole freaking time.
Yeah.
Whereas you had four guys.
Right.
So you had, look at your best guys on the mic. Okay, granted, were they in tag teams at one point or another, but take your top 5 guys on the mic ever in wrestling, they were all singles.
Yeah.
Flair, Hogan, as much as you hate,
Piper.
as much as that, those guys were always good on the mic. The tag team, passable.
Next match is a complete squash. Joey Janela against Lance Archer. Archer throws Sunny Kiss on to Joey. They go to break, and he's just beating the ass out of both of them. Jake, I thought, came out with the snake bag. I think he had the bag, but I thought, we're going to get the snake tonight. But no, we really didn't get it. This is just pushing Archer more. I mean, I don't think Archer needs pushed more. I think he needs a competition now. We've seen enough that what he can do. Now he needs a good match. The Cody match was good, but he needs a Luchasaurus or a Wardlow that they just fight forever. No, they just need something like that.
I love this match. I love it. It had an old school feel to it. Not just the fact that it was a squash, but how Lance Archer worked. He had a lot of energy without speeding through things. He looked like a hungry animal that just wanted to kill something. Some of the stuff he did, like the boot in the back and just digging his heel into his spine. It's not illegal, but it's vicious. Whether Jake is just an on-screen manager or they really have some sort of personal or professional relationship off-screen, someone I feel is talking to this guy and saying, here's what worked back in the day and what could work now, and put their own little spin on it.
Us.
Maybe it is. Maybe they listen to us. Yeah, maybe that's what it is. But it was a torturing match, and I kind of miss that. I kind of enjoy that. This sounds stupid. I went back and I watched Ivan Koloff against Frank Williams from like
Jesus
1983.
God.
Frankie Williams, good Lord.
Yep, it's a beautiful beating. It was a beating that made sense, and this is what this was. It was just vicious. It was beautiful. The other thing I want to say about this match is there was a point where Archer was not doing as well. I don't want to say it looked like he was going to lose, but he was down, and Jake Roberts smacked his foot and was yelling at him. And it just reminded me, this is a sore subject for me, but the 95 ALDS between the Yankees and the Mariners, there was a point where there was I wish I could remember the kid's name. He was struggling against the Yankees. And Lou comes out, Lou Piniella, who's managing the Mariners, and just leans into his pitcher and yells at him. And they show the kid's mom in the crowd. And I love baseball more than I love the Yankees. Even though I love the Yankees, he got the side out. And I felt like, good for him, man. He took adversity, he took pressure, and he turned it around. My point is, Jake Roberts was yelling at Archer, maybe even embarrassing him a little bit, and then he responded and got the win. They do little things in AEW, guys, to make us believe we're watching a sport. In this day and age, when everything's out in the open for the most part, they still do the little things to make us believe we're watching a competition. This was a squash. It was beautifully done.
The only problem that I had with this match, not a big deal because, like you said, it was a squash. I just, I don't like to see Archer just beat the shit out of him. Janela get no offense, or Archer not sell a damn thing. Maybe beat Janela down so fucking bad that people come out, they disqualify him or something like that. I would have loved to have seen that because it would have fit Jake Roberts. It just makes me think of back when Jake DDT'd Ricky Steamboat on a concrete and you had that big coconut on his head. And
that was great.
Oh, that was nasty.
Cage. Jesus, Mark.
What is
Cage and Taz come out and he's got huge news and shut up, Chad. And then we get
that was John.
Yeah, but you're coaxing him on. 2, and I'm already feeling it already. We get the FTW belt back.
And for those that don't know what FTW is, pulled from ECW.
Yep.
When Taz, they weren't putting the title on him, didn't want to put the title on him, and he actually came up with this and brought this to Paulie. FTW, fuck the world.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's for.
Let's stir the pot. He's got a match next week against Moxley. Why put it on him now? All right, if he loses against Moxley next week, and then the following week you give it to him, it's another build-up for maybe a rematch or something. But the match is already signed. Why? So it's not title against title. Whatever. I just didn't like this. Right now. A week or a month down the line after he's destroying people. I thought at one point they were going to say Moxley's not defending the title, and here's a title cage because Moxley got COVID.
Next week's match there's not going to be a decision. It's not going to be one or the other losing. It's going to be a double DQ or a DQ or something.
And then they go their own ways for a while.
And then they're going to work this into a series, at least a 2, if not a 3-match series, because that's exactly what they did. Paul Heyman did with the FTW title in ECW. Was it got Taz into the world title. First match, it just ever loving beat shit out of each other. Second match, disputed, both shoulders were down, I only saw his come up third match blow off. I think that's honestly where they're taking it because they're running out of things to do with Moxley, and if they have him beat Cage, that's going to bury Cage for a while, and that's it. Who else is Moxley going to go against? Back to Jericho, Sammy Guevara,
Pineapple Pete getting wins.
Pineapple Pete.
Go ahead, John. Corral us.
Wow. Okay, so the $1 Million Man couldn't beat Hulk Hogan, right? And so he tried to buy the belt. Hulk said no. Andre cheated, and he bought the belt from Andre. Jack Tunney said no, that you can't do that. And he finally got pushed to the brink, and he's like, fuck it, I'm making my own belt. And he made his own belt. That, to me, made a little more sense than this situation. Like, Cage hasn't even challenged yet. I don't understand the point of this belt. Why? Do exactly what Chad just said. Indecisive win, indecisive loss, whatever, double DQ. You're chicken shit, Mox. You're running away. I know this guy's a champion, so here's a belt for him. Why now? A month down the road, that would have made perfect sense. I don't get this belt right now.
I'm all right with it being there. It's just not yet.
What about Moxley or what about Cage and Taz destroying the AEW title? Go back years ago when Billy Graham got pissed off at Bob Backlund winning the title, and he took the title and ripped it to shit, and that's how Backlund ended up getting, the newer WWE title. What if they do something like that? Then it's like, hey, bitch, I got a belt. What do you have?
Oh, this guy.
That's not a bad idea.
Next matchup is an 8-man match. Butcher Blade, Lucha Brothers against FTR and the Young Bucks. I tapped out early on this match because I'm 43. I didn't get 9/8 of the spots that they did. I did nothing. I did see the Canadian Destroyer onto 5 people, and I'm like, what?
That was sick, man.
It was, but there were just so many spots. I quote The Undertaker. What are they going to do next? They have to kill somebody in the ring now. That's it.
Yep. I'm with you, Mark. It started off well. I enjoyed this match for a while. I really like the Butcher and the Blade. I like those guys a lot. I love the Lucha Brothers ever since we saw them up close and personal.
At WrestleX. Yep.
Yep. I enjoy these guys. There was good stuff. There was good tag team wrestling. And then, I don't know, like at some point the referee has to say, look, guys, that's it. I'm calling it. Well, the 5 count is a 10 count in AEW. Well, then it needs to be a 20 because
there's
counted to
8
30.
people. There's 8 people in the ring playing patty cake and setting up this next move. It takes a while to get a 8-person move done.
In a match like this, it's just kind of killed because everybody wants to get their shit in.
Right. I don't need to see 8 finishers.
I don't. The finishers, this match could have been, granted, I like most everybody in there except for the 2 assholes, the Young Bucks. This match could have been something where FTR or the Young Bucks caused the other one to get pinned real quick. Maybe have a guy thrown to the outside and his coconut rung into the ring post and you have to take him to the back. Something like that. You didn't need to have all 4 or all 8 of them out there the whole damn time. It just kind of, you knew what the match was. It's a placemat for FTR and the Young Bucks.
Again.
That's all it was, and they could have just furthered it a bit more than they did with this.
But exactly. They could have, and in the end, FTR's just like, oh, you guys, who got pinned? All right, yeah, we'll see you guys. All right, good match. What the hell is the point of that? I mean, I'm not saying they have to start brawling, but, show me a disagreement. You know, hey, that wasn't the game plan. You're the one who got pinned. Well, where the hell were you? They're just like, all right, we'll see next time.
The only thing I can
It
think
didn't
of,
do anything for me.
the only thing I can think of that they're doing with this is keeping FTR as the
Good guys.
indecisive.
Yeah. All right.
You don't know what they're going to do. And then when they get into a match finally with the Young Bucks and, I don't know, Audrey's back is turned or the windmill referee is out
Remsburg.
polishing
Yeah.
his head on the outside or whatever, not paying attention, they're just going to dick kick the Young Bucks and win the match that way.
Good. Big Swole finally, an hour into the show, showing up for the show, but she's not allowed into the building. Britt has had her suspended
for kidnapping.
her. More on that later. And my God, Britt, condolences, honey. Condolences. Well, Nyla Rose comes out and beats the piss out of Kenzie Page and Kaylin King. And then Nyla says she's going to have a manager. And everybody's wondering who it's going to be. Who do we think? Everybody gets one guess. Who do we think it's going to be?
She mentioned Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard and Jake the Snake, so it's probably not any of them.
Right.
I don't know. My guess is they bring somebody in. This isn't it, but just to be bold, Paul Heyman.
That's ball.
That's it. No, that's bold.
That's like
bold.
Weed smoking bold.
Yeah.
That's like you're high, you're
Yeah.
missing something.
No, I haven't a clue.
I'm gonna go. I think Tessa Blanchard. I think this is how they bring her in.
So
That's just an idea. Bring her in as a manager. That could start a feud if she causes Shida the title. It could start a feud between them, while not putting her straight into the world title picture or something like that. It could be a way to bring her in.
I'm saying differences have been set aside, and it's Awesome Kong. Her and Kong get together. Kong, a little older in the wrestling years, so the knowledge is there, how she can run through. That instantly, I thought they dropped the whole Alley Nightmare thing, and the Brandy Nightmare thing, So I thought, well, Kong's still around. She just got done taping Glow or whatever, but Kong's coming back. And I think this is the way you get Kong in. And then it sets up for down the line, Kong wants one more match and beats the piss out of Nyla. And that's, boom.
Boy, when you say set differences aside, first one I thought of was Riho.
Oh, Jesus. No. How?
What about a female version or the same idea of like an Arn Anderson or Tully Blanchard? Like maybe someone from yesteryear, but like a Lita or Wendy Richter or something. It's crazy as that. Wendy misses the business.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I watched 350 Days. She said she'd like to be involved again. She really misses it. I think that'd be cool if she were a manager.
Oh my God! Just hit Brody Lee in the Doric Order.
Well, that's a good segue, Chad, because Colt is in the training room, and he's not sure if he can wrestle tonight, and my boy Brody Lee comes in and says, "You're fine." Kind of does a Mr. Miyagi type of stuff on him, rubs his shoulder, and sends him out. The Dark Order get the win. They, Colt, Stu, and Lee take on SCU! And, Dark Order taking over. They might be the second best six-man tag team champion, active six-man tag team champions. After us. Yeah.
Maybe.
Did you see the bruise?
That was...
What the hell happened to him?
Colt Cabana?
He must have got run over by a tank.
It looked like somebody took the cutting board or something and just freaking cracked him in the ribs or whatever. Oh my God, that looked bad.
This was an okay match. It continues. I mean, that's it. I mean, we don't need to get in depth about it. It was an okay match, continuing to tell stuff that Colt's going to go for a little bit and then bail on a Dark Order. The writing's on the wall, folks. Come on. It's wrestling.
My son didn't even buy the bruise. He's like, okay. He's 10 years old. He's like, okay, that's paint. And I said, I'm playing along. I said, so
Why
you
not
think they
paint?
Well, makeup, whatever. Yeah. I said, do you think they put makeup on them to trick
Dark Order,
to trick their opponents? So the opponents, the SCU, think he's more injured than he really is. He goes, no, I think AEW did it. I'm like, why would AEW do it? And he's like, well, Dad, I think it's real, but I think they still do stuff to tell the story. So he wasn't even buying the bruised ribs. It was a bit much.
It was. Big Swole gets into the arena wearing, like, security guard stuff, and she throws a piece of paper, her, what's the... I was going to say cease and desist, but that's not... what the hell is it called, you two? Where you can't come next to 50
restraining
feet?
order.
Yeah. Cease and desist order. Jesus. She throws it at Britt, and it breaks her nose again. That piece of paper...
Poor girl, man.
She's still dealing with the nose, and now surgery again this week. Britt's...
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
I think she should sue.
She broke the restraining order.
I mean, sue the con, sue the stadium, sue the security.
I think the Cons own the stadium, but all right.
Well, I mean, sue the city. She should just sue everybody.
Do it, yeah.
She'd have those college loans paid off.
Yes,
she would. Your main event, and I was looking for more in this main event. It was Orange Cassidy against Jericho. Great match. Orange juice all over the place at one point. Jericho finally wins with the Judas effect. Perfect. Let me say one thing that I'm telling you. Guevara has not been here since what he said about Sasha and everything. They miss somebody bad singing Judas. They really do. Because that's part of Jericho's shtick now. You could have had Ortiz try to do it a little bit better. I mean, his whole thing is to sing that song bad. And he does it. And it loses a little bit on Jericho.
Ortiz they're just not... I mean, they're the dick heels, but Guevara he's just
asshole.
like the one you just want to punch in the face every time he comes down. It's like he's $120 and he thinks he's, 260, 10 feet tall and bulletproof.
Now wrestling is over. I saw everybody hugging each other. So it's a 2-hour show on Saturdays every other week. T-Vision Dojo. Make sure you get to Twitch. All right, sorry, go ahead. Now
go ahead.
Turn everything off. Go ahead. Talk about the match.
He
didn't talk.
I thought it was a good match. I'm not an overly big Orange Cassidy fan. I think this was his best match all around. And I think if you say he's not talented
You're
or
an
anything
idiot.
like that, I think at this point you're an idiot. That's it.
Piggybacking what you said, Chad, about Sammy Guevara, he's the Tully Blanchard of the Inner Circle. Dusty Rhodes said you could hate something Barry Windham did or hate something Ric Flair did, but you could like those guys. Barry Windham, even as a heel, was a likable guy. You couldn't hate Ric Flair very much, but when Tully Blanchard came out, they booed him. They hated him. I think it's the same thing with the Inner Circle. You laugh and you have a good time. There's just something about Sammy Guevara. You hate him more than you hate the rest of the guys.
I don't.
He needs to do his time, though.
I don't. I don't at all.
He's just
No.
he's just like a somebody. He comes across as somebody all these stars picked off the street to
I've
join
had a
their
man
little
crush
club.
on him since Wrestle Circle. So no. Nope.
And Tully Blanchard was also your favorite, Mark. So what does that say about you? If everyone says
No!
Tully's a dick and
I-
Guevara's a dick,
I'm the Arn Anderson. Arn was always my favorite.
good point. But you like Tully. So what does this say about you?
I'm an asshole.
All right then. Yeah. By the way, this match is very good. Jericho, he can still work. And while that hands in the pocket thing is silly, man, what that guy can do with his hands in his pockets is really amazing. This is a fine match. Really enjoyable. The right guy won.
Main event against main event, it wasn't close. No. It wasn't close.
Agreed.
All right, let's switch over to Great American Bash as we're 28 into this segment already. Opening match for Great American Bash was Candice LeRae against Mia Yim in a street fight. Kendos, chairs, tables, garbage cans, they fought all over the place.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was
a good freaking match.
I'm telling you, and I think this match destroyed the first match on... I always watch AEW first, and I go back a day or two later and watch NXT. But I remember, or at least I have my notes up at the same time, I just think NXT brought it this week. I really do.
Yeah, their matches...
Candice wins, by the way.
Their matches just were so competitive. You really didn't know who was going to win. Like I said earlier, it's like AEW seemed to be predictable on who was going to win, where NXT, I mean, they even put out that, you know, there was two endings taped to the Adam Cole match. You just didn't know who the hell was going to win. This was just a great match. I liked it. The women in NXT are stepping up. I want to say just like the tag team in AEW, the women in NXT are stepping up, and I think this is great for them. I think this is one of the probably top 3 matches of the entire weekend, or of the entire week.
Yeah, this was a hard match to follow because it was awesome. You're right, Mark. Opening match versus opening match. This kicked the shit out of Hangman and Omega against Private Party. Couple of things during this match. There was a point they were fighting outside where they're throwing things at each other, and I think Yim hits a drop kick that knocks LeRae off a platform or something through a table, and she didn't hit the table cleanly, and the table tipped backwards. There was some vicious spots in this match, but they weren't super high spots. At the end, it was like the Masked Superstar corkscrew neck break, which his defeated opponents, you know, he's left them lying. So
but it was on chairs. But it was on chairs off of a table, off the
top rope or whatever, off the table on the chairs. That ought to finish somebody, and it did. And that was really the only high spot. This was a good fight. They told a great story. Ebbs and flows. You didn't know who was going to win. You're invested in the characters. I didn't know who was going to win. I really didn't.
No, I didn't either.
I thought Yim would win. I haven't followed NXT closely. For a long time, Candice LeRae was just kind of connected to her husband. She was just kind of an extension of Johnny Gargano, which is unfortunate. I like the new attitude, and I felt like she needs something more other than this new attitude. Okay, she wrestled a great match. I think she needs a win. She got the win. This was fantastic, start to finish.
Next matchup is Bronson Reed against Tony Nese. John, you just said it. It's hard to follow that opening match. These guys, here, go out and do something because we have more coming. And that's what that was. Bronson Reed just beats the shit out of Nese. There we go. We're done. We're fine with that match. You know, kind of the Archer Janela match. Just like wash that opening match away, so we can get on to next.
It was a come down match. It was kind of like, okay, you're obviously not going to be allowed to compete with the first match, so bring it down a notch, get the crowd settled down a bit more.
And this is where I think NXT won in that regard, because along with every match telling us a story, the card as a whole told us a story. In other words, like I don't want to pretend to know like what goes on backstage or what they discuss, but this was almost like that scene from The Wrestler where they're all in the back and they're like, who's working what tonight? And so you get like a different story in each match, and so you get one big story told over the course of a card. the ladies told their story in the first match, and then these guys told their story in the second match. Match was fine, and it was drastically different. AEW just seemed like Chad said earlier, everybody had to get their stuff in.
Yep, I agree. Robert Stone trying to get Shotzi to join the group, and why am I bringing this up? Because Shotzi runs over Robbie E. or Robert Stone or whatever with her little Tykes tank. I love that. And you would have thought he got hit by the Titanic. Stupid, but it's fine.
Yeah, that guy's a little too much.
I think he's perfect for where he is. He can't be a serious wrestler. Next matchup was Swerve against Johnny Wrestling. This was a good match. I like Gargano. I really like everything Gargano does. Gargano ever moving up more to the main roster, I think, is a travesty. He was on Raw and SmackDown there for a little bit when they were doing their whatever. Gargano's made for NXT, and he needs to stay there because he fits the mold, he fits the atmosphere, he is everything that NXT needs.
So, Gargano's awesome. I agree with you 100%. How long has his opponent, Swerve, how long has he been wrestling? Do you have any idea?
A bit. Not long. A
bit.
Yeah.
Not long.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't care for this guy. I didn't care for this match. I didn't care for this guy. I went from, this match is going to be okay, to I don't like this match, to I hate this match, to this match is okay. And the reason for that is, and maybe I'm being too judgmental, Gargano's work is tight, it's concise, there's no wasted motion, and Swerve, they're just, aside from things not being as crisp or as neat, there were too many movements to get to the end result. And I know
Ricochet.
I about that with Ricochet. Yeah. And it just was a little much. Again, going back to the movie The Wrestler, Mickey Rourke says, as a boxer, you want to try to hide what's coming next. You don't want your opponent to know. And what was difficult for him when he trained with Asuka was you want to telegraph that so your opponent knows, or so the crowd knows. But some of this stuff was way too telegraphed. I didn't feel like if I'm watching a fight, someone with Gargano's experience would hang around and wait for that to happen. It just was too much stuff to get to the end result. It was okay. It could have been better if it was just tightened up. Yeah.
What do we got on Swerve?
Shane Strickland made his debut in 2011.
Oh, more than a bit then. Wow.
So he's been around 9 years. That's kind of surprising. I didn't think he'd been around that long.
Either.
Maybe 4 to 5. Gonna look up Johnny Gargano here, but Gargano is one that his matches and the stories that he can tell with them. Again, it's an NXT thing. He's going to be more lost on the main event roster, on the main roster, than practically anybody. Yeah. I think if they bring him up, he's just not. It's not one of those types.
As you're looking that up, next match was the Familia, Phantasma Familia against Breezango and Drake Maverick. DJZ looked amazing. Or Joaquin Wilde, but he's always going to be DJZ to me. Looked amazing in this match. He looked great. And I love Phantasma Familia. I love those guys.
This was a great 6-man tag team match. I didn't know Maverick could work this well. Really, even just on the apron, trying to get a tag. Once he was in the ring, the stuff he did in the ring. Nothing really terribly exciting, nothing really over the top, but believable as a little guy doing whatever's necessary to fight his bigger opponents. I can't believe there's this much talent in the guy, and the best thing they could make him do was on the main roster was can't bang his wife. He comes in his pants. He shits his pants. Whatever. All they did was humiliate this guy on the main roster, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy can work, you know?
What do you got on Gargano?
Oh, just Gargano, going back to him, debuted in 2005.
Yeah, I knew he's been a bit.
Born in 1987. So he's been around for a bit. He's just one of these guys. He would be an ROH main eventer.
Yeah,
it's just a different thing. He's just a good wrestler. He's not
TV champ in NWA.
Yeah, he could be TV champ NWA easily.
Yeah. Next match is Santana Garrett against my cousin, Mercedes Martinez. Yeah. I've gushed about her from Rise. I love her. I'm glad to see her back on a network that we can see her. I hope we see her more. She's been in and out of NXT, the Mae Young Classics, this, that, and the other thing. She's that Latina badass that's not going to take anybody's shit and roll through the punches. And I think you see some women transition up here in the near future. And I think it's going to be Tegan Nox. You're going to see Martinez, Candice LeRae kind of running with the NXT right now. Mercedes is also a trainer that is just going to help that division get better. I love her. I'm telling you, I love her.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. I enjoyed this match. The sort of semi-selling. She gets hit with the clothesline or hit with the pump kick or whatever. But she won't go down until finally she makes up her mind that she's going to clock her opponent. I think it was like maybe a clothesline or something that she finally used. Yeah, nice match, and I like the pin at the end. She hooks the leg and pins the wrist down at the same time. Sort of like a nonchalant cover, but at the same time fundamental.
Oh,
yeah, another great match. The ladies delivering again. Met Santana Garrett at Crockett Cup. Crockett Cup last year. Sweetheart. Think she was kind of at that match there. She was kind of not there, but she's definitely stepped up her game.
Well, she only had a week to get ready for that. I know. We all know that, but she was just thrown into the Crockett Cup.
It was hard in the match. Just wasn't there. But every single match that you've seen of her since then,
amazing.
She's good.
Yeah,
she's really, really good.
And finally, the main event of NXT. Chad called it about a month ago. Adam Cole against Lee, and we have a new NXT champion. And let me first off, you guys, before you get to the discussion of the match, what brand does Adam Cole go to? Does he show up the night after SummerSlam or at SummerSlam? In the NXT Undisputed Era, I read today, a lot of them aren't happy to be moved up.
I can imagine. Yeah, they're probably having a good time. Question number 1, brand SmackDown. Question number 2, when? The SmackDown immediately after SummerSlam. So not at SummerSlam.
Okay.
Oh God, I don't honestly know. I could flip a coin and make a case for either one of them. I mean, are you gonna where are you gonna put them? Are you gonna have them in the U.S. title? Are you gonna have them in the world title? Are you gonna have them debut? And if I'm remembering correctly, O'Reilly, Fish, and Cole's pretty much debut. Did they not attack Drew McIntyre in NXT?
Yep.
Do they bring that back up? Because you haven't seen O'Reilly and Fish either.
Right.
So did they bring those 3 guys? Because one of the things McMahon said, and it's the biggest knock against Adam Cole, is his size. absolutely nothing else, it's his size. If you're going to have him in the world title hunt, you're going to have him with backup, and he's going to be a prick. This would be the perfect thing for either Drew McIntyre or Strowman, but I think it would make more sense to have it where he goes against Drew McIntyre because there's a history you can attach to, there's background, everything like that. So I think they're going to have him go to Raw with McIntyre.
I actually agree with Raw right off the bat to get a feeler. Guys, there's people that still do not watch everything, unlike us or whatever. They don't watch everything. That they only watch Raw or SmackDown. So I think maybe if they don't know who Adam Cole is, they get the feeler on Raw for a little bit, and then when the draft comes over, all that happens. I don't know. I don't see how. Either way, I hope his contract ends up and he goes to AEW. Is honestly what I want.
I'd just like to, I wish he'd go to AEW. First off, I think they're going to take him to Raw. I think it's the one that makes sense. If you don't know Adam Cole, I know what you're saying. You may not be, oh, okay, I know him. He was in NXT. But if you haven't seen enough of him to see how good he is, you're not watching anything.
So, before this, though, I just want to touch on that promo with, what's her name? Underwater. It teased the Women's Championship match for next week.
What? I missed it.
The promo.
I missed it.
The woman from Wales and the woman from Japan. Well, shit. Is it Knox?
Yeah, Tegan.
Where's she from?
Tegan Knox.
Tegan Knox. She's from Wales. And I can't think of the women's champion right now. In
Io.
Io, thank you. Io Shirai, thank you.
Who is underwater?
Io. She did a promo underwater.
Oh.
It was sexy, you guys. It was hot.
I meant, like, she's the what do they call her? The Sultan of the Air, or the Sultan of SWAT, I was going to say. That's Babe Ruth. But she's the Prince of the Air, because she's so athletic. Right. When you were saying water, I was thinking, I don't know, Ariel, or, right. Moana, or somebody that is always around water, Disney characters. I didn't have the fucking slightest idea what you're talking about.
She did a promo underwater. I don't know why. It didn't make any sense, but it was hot. So I just wanted to mention that. The other thing I wanted to mention was I don't give a shit what Mick Foley and Shawn Michaels have to say or what they predict. However, if that stuff was written for them, they delivered it like their own. I believed I was truly listening to their predictions. It pisses me off so fucking bad when that guy goes, I may be the WWE champion, but here's what I predict about NXT. There is just not a believable word that comes out of Scotty McPants' mouth. Whatever the hell his name is. I
have no clue what he's talking about right now.
The WWE champion.
Drew McIntyre,
Scotty McPants, whatever. They all gave their predictions.
Where did I miss this at? What did I leave my house for these predictions and everything?
Back me up. Where did I see this? Back me up on this, Chad. Where did I see this?
Oh, I know it's in there. I'm just laughing because I'm sorry. I think Shawn Michaels is. This ain't gonna be real nice of me, but I just think he's a prick.
You said that from day one.
I don't like the guy. I've never liked him outside of the AWA and the Rockers and that. I've never liked him. Mick Foley, I hate to bring up what Ric Flair said about him in Flair's book, but Mick Foley made his reputation by being thrown off Hell in a Cell and went from there. So if you're going to have guys like that, you lose me. You lose people. Get guys in there that, Austin. I love Austin. He's
Absolutely
one that is the test of time. The Undertaker. Get guys.
Us.
Get guys that are likable.
Us.
Well, that eliminates you. But get guys that are likable that people, holy shit, they'd still love to see.
I want Tegan to win that, by the way. I love Tegan Knox.
Yeah.
I love Tegan Knox.
Yeah, and not Scotty McDougal or whatever. Oh, I can't stand that guy.
Hey, well,
He's such a sellout to me.
Well, good. We're going to talk about Raw and SmackDown right after this.
Yo! It's Johnny Patch, the American Daredevil, the Super Indie Champion, and you're listening to Can Crushers Podcast.
Welcome back to Can Crushers. I'm the English professor. Chad the Guru joins us, as well as your host, Mark the Mark. We're going to talk about Raw. And who kicked off Raw, Mark?
Lucky Charms.
Your boy, Scotty McPants.
Lucky Charms. Scotty McPants.
Guys, we're going to put the 5-minute thing on Raw and SmackDown again. There's not much to talk about. There isn't. Both of them are just setting up, and I'll bounce back and forth. Both of them are just setting up now what is called the horror show at Extreme Rules.
Rocky Picture Horror Show?
Right, exactly. I think we get, for this pay-per-view, with the air quotes, maybe 3 cinematic matches. Because the shit that they're setting up is you have to cut off an arm to win a match. You have to swim through a swamp of alligators to win a match. You have to do this. You have to do that.
Hey, don't forget you have to
beat
pop
Virgil.
a guy's eyeball out.
Yeah, an eye versus
I
eye.
want to see this shit. I want to see Rey Mysterio with a big spoon just gouge out Seth Rollins' eyes.
And you're a Seth Rollins fan.
Yes, but I want to see something. Damn it. You want to impress me? I don't want to, fake blood. No, I want to see the eyeball hanging out like Stan Hansen when he clotheslined Vader and knocked his eyeball out of the socket and it was hanging there. I want to see that shit.
Wow.
There you go. Mark, you said it earlier. What did The Undertaker say?
Yeah.
Where do you go from here? Chad wants eyeballs now.
Heath Slater, I probably made his last appearance on WWE programming. All intents and purposes, everything's leading that Heath is going to Impact. Guys, I think we have to start covering Impact. Impact's going to bounce back. Honestly, I think Impact's going to bounce back. We should probably dabble with that once in a while. Another goddamn mosquito in this house. So I'll throw that in the empty can. Listen, what we're getting to is Mark wanted to ask really one question in this 5 minutes of WWE. A couple weeks ago, I brought up to you, Mr. English Professor, how I hate seeing Charlotte on every fucking show. Every show. She grinds my gears on every show. 17-time champion, whatever. Sasha and Bayley are doing it now, and I can't get enough of it. I want them to show up on AEW. I want them to show up on NWA. I want them on World Class Championship Wrestling. I want them on AWA. If they can make it to IWC, if they can make it to Imagine, if they can make it anywhere. Is it just because I'm smitten, or do I hate Charlotte that much?
Probably both. Either way, it's hypocritical. It is. I hate to tell you, but I'll tell you straight, it's hypocritical. You like them. You like them and you want to see them. I like Charlotte. I never got tired of seeing her.
Yeah.
I'm with Mark on this one, and yeah, I'm a hypocritical bastard too. Charlotte just
grinds your gears.
She just looks like she's going through the motions. And that's, I guess, the biggest thing with her that I don't like. I get that feeling like she's just going through the motions. With Sasha and Bayley, you don't know what the hell they're going to do.
Okay, wait. We got a minute and 15 seconds. All right. The only thing on SmackDown I want to bring up, and you guys both need to go back and watch this, there was a karaoke contest, all right? It was outright horrible. But I want to tell you the songs that they sang, all right? It was hosted by Jey Uso. I'm not going to get this in 5 minutes, so God bless America. It was between Lacey Evans, Dana Brooke, Tamina, and Naomi. Lacey starts the whole damn thing by singing Jeff Jarrett's Be My Baby Tonight. Nobody sang this song worse than Jeff Jarrett than Lacey Evans. It was putrid. Next up, Dana sings the Honky Tonk Man's theme song. Gets cut off in 15 seconds because she couldn't carry a wood stick. Tamina doesn't even know the words. She looked worse than Pat trying to spit water to Triple H's I Am the Game. She didn't know it's time to play the game. She said it wrong. She's an idiot. And then Naomi sings American Dream, Dusty Rhodes' song. And she gets to sing the whole thing because they're still trying to get Knox on AEW with Dusty Rhodes. And by the way, Lacey Evans turned, and now she hates everybody again. It was a Lacey Evans turn is why they did a karaoke contest.
She doesn't need to be anything but a heel.
I agree. She's a better heel than she is a good person. Even with America, she's, fought everything. Chad, don't punch me. Fought all over the world. Her little Marine that lives at home. You could be an American and still be a badass like that. Cool. She needs to be. But this karaoke contest was ungodly. John, you need to watch it.
I'll be sure to watch it.
That's your homework.
I guess. Okay. I was about to say what was the point because I didn't watch it, but at least there was a turn. Let me ask you very quickly. I know we're way over on what we want to spend on this. How did she turn? What did she do?
She got pissed because she didn't.
Somebody?
She got pissed because she didn't win the karaoke contest. Naomi won singing American Dream, and then her and Jay celebrated like they won the Super Bowl or the World Series. And then Lacey's like, "No, I actually won." And then she beat on Naomi, and then they kind of had a match, and then everybody else got involved as well.
Okay, so let me say this.
It's stupid.
Why are we such marks for the old stuff? Why is Yokozuna eating lunch? Why is Sergeant Slaughter driving a tank? Why is that okay? Well, why is Ricky Steamboat fighting ninjas okay? Because it has to do with their characters. It forwards something. Razor Ramon flipping a restaurant table. It drives home a point. Lacey Evans might be the hardest working, most talented woman in any major brand. Why is she doing this shit? Does she deserve this? Karaoke. To what end? And how long did it last?
Too long.
Dog, water sliding against Jimmy Hart might still be the stupidest thing ever. It wasn't a minute long. A minute. How long did this take?
This was a good 10 minutes. It was a good 10 minutes. It was a segment that, and I'll tell you, like, at least her singing Be My Baby Tonight wasn't the worst. Like, we all gave Tamina a shot because she's Superfly's daughter. She can't do anything in the ring, including singing or mopping. Nothing. She is putrid. I could go ask Ethan, who is tapped out of wrestling, my 13-year-old son, to sing Triple H's fucking theme song. Pat can try to spit water out of a bottle to Triple H's theme. She was like, and she just started headbanging then because she didn't know it's time to play the game.
God, this is so embarrassing.
John, I think
lime or lemon. Which one is your last one? Not your
lemon.
last, but on air last. Lemon.
Lemon.
Okay.
I think why is the stuff that we find years ago so funny and entertaining and stuff now we just want to gouge our eye out with a spoon. Show Rey Mysterio how the shit's done. I think because back then it wasn't the norm. It wasn't the majority of the show. Whereas now, okay, when was the last time that a good match broke out on WWE? That you remember it?
What year is today?
I mean, I'll say, and this is bad, a couple of weeks ago, AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan was the closest thing in the last 2 or 3 years that I remember anything of a match-worthy thing.
Well, we talked last week that Thatcher and Oni was a great match.
But that's NXT. That's not main roster. That's where the problem is.
All right.
I'm just saying that's where the problem is, because Vince McMahon, SmackDown and Raw, I don't care who he puts in it, whether it's Bruce Pritchard, Tom Pritchard, Jay Pritchard, whoever
Tom
the hell,
Hanks.
Tom Hanks, it doesn't matter. It's still Vince's vision. NXT is Triple H, and as much of a prick as may think he is, mainly because of his friendship with Shawn Michaels, NXT is more wrestling than it is anything else.
Well, the bonus is next week we get to do our predictions on the horror show at Extreme Rules, and I can't wait because there's a bar fight, there's an eye for an eye match, there's a swamp match, there is...
So help me God, if this is as bad as the
haunted
house Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt shit with mobiles hanging up, every one of them should be put in prison after they're shot.
The Patlanos may not watch it live. Your son Vinny will have it on for a while and get disgusted at one point. We'll get disgusted. Nonetheless,
you bring him up.
We doubled the time, by the way.
You bring him up, and I got to tell you guys a story. All you guys will get a laugh out of this.
Good. So get us away from WWE.
So we're watching wrestling, older stuff, and Vinny's like, "Dad, I want to wrestle." I was like, "Okay, bud." So we set up our little ring on the bed and everything, and he knees me, and he does it accidentally, and he caught me good, and I mean it kind of stunned me.
Knuts?
No, right in the face, right in the cheek.
Go to sleep.
He tried to give me the back cracker from the front, and he succeeded in doing it with my head. So I'm like, it's smarted. What does he do? He comes running off of the bed, and frickin' Claymore kicks me right in the middle of the forehead.
That's a big forehead.
Just lays me the frick out. And he's like, "Dad, are you okay?" Yeah. What's the first thing that little prick does? He gets down, covers me for a pin, counts the pin, and says, "I'm the champion."
Well, that's almost... All right, as we're telling stories, this has been brought up before, but, we have new listeners every week or everything. 6th grade, I'm still an asshole, but I was an asshole 6th grade as well.
Yeah.
Home ec class, John and I were having some... a fight, a wrestling fight. Teacher leaves the room. I hit John with something. He pushes me down, drops a leg on me. Legit drops a leg on me in, which is now Francis Elementary School, but it was our middle school. Drops a leg on me, knocks my ass out. He pins me, from what I hear, and then realizes, oh shit, I have knocked Mark out. And again, from what he tells me, you can clarify this in a second, 2 seconds before the teacher comes back in the class, I'm waking up with, dead.
Drool,
everything.
Yeah. It was a multiple effect, I dropped the leg, which hit him in the head, which knocked his head off the floor, which brought his head back up off my leg and knocked it back on the floor again. So it was like a quadruple whammy. That explains his short-term memory these days.
It's not funny. That's real life. That's the truth.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that.
I don't care.
And then Vinny tries to I have my belts hanging up on the back of my bed, and he tries taking the world championship belt off.
Like a ladder match
hanging that thing, and I was like, really? I mean, I get up, I'm seeing cross-eyed and everything like that. He's like, Dad, are you okay? I was like, yeah, but I'll be okay. He was like, good. He's like, I kicked your ass. And I was like, and that's when his mother heard him. She's like, what did you say? I kicked your butt.
I'm glad we're still producing assholes for this world.
Yeah.
But the three of us, we love our children. But in some shape or form, all of our boys are assholes. And it's only because of us.
Yep.
Guys, all right.
No disagreement here.
Let's fill you in on what's going on. We were going to cover the IWC event that was going to take place tonight, last night. That has since been moved to next week. Let's touch on this. It's going to be at a Brownsville movie drive-in theater now. I'll open it up and say, I don't know, man. I wasn't going to go in the first place because of the whole COVID and everything. Now you can stay around your car, you can stay in your car and watch wrestling at a drive-in. I understand them trying, but that's not for me.
I know a restaurant, I think in New York, did this where they put up a screen or something, so it's kind of like a drive-in, and they bring your food to your car. It's helped them stay in business. I hope this works for Justin and Jenny. I don't know how pro wrestling will work as a drive-in, but so explain to me, Mark. Explain to the listeners too. Is it going to be shown on a screen, or are they setting up a ring in the middle of a field somewhere?
They're having the ring in the middle of the field. I don't know if it's going to be projected onto the screen. And I asked the question because you guys have already said it. I'm an asshole. I'm a dick. It is also not available right off the bat on the network because of course, Wi-Fi and distance and everything. So, we might not cover it. We'll brief over it down the line when it's actually up. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be interesting.
It's inventive. And the card's kind of changing a little bit, too, from what Johnny Patch has released. So we don't know what's going to happen.
I think it's definitely going to be interesting how they pull it off. I'm curious to see how it is. It pisses me off that so many different things are allowed to be open and so many people are allowed to be in different events and stuff like that, but something like this wrestling and that is really getting shit on to where they couldn't even have, like 2 weeks ago, 125 people plus staff. Now it's even worse, but yet you can open a freaking amusement park and have 5,000 people, and I understand the mask wearing and everything like that. I'm not talking about that. It's just the sheer number of people, and that's what I think. I really hope it doesn't kill the independent scene wrestling, because that's honestly where the best wrestling is at, and it's
really is.
Been at for quite a few years.
Agreed. I know amusement parks are outside, and that's the big difference, they say, is outside versus inside. Your breath, your spit, whatever, it doesn't have room to escape. It's stuck in there. However, you mean to tell me there's no way this independent promotion can open the doors to however many people, with masks, of course, with masks. It's too bad, because I'd like to get to one of these.
I would.
If you could tell me that people have to wear their masks and you enforce that, and we went over this, and I don't want to get into it again, but I'm trying to protect my wife,
right?
Who's compromised. So I'd like to get to one of these, and if you could tell me, here's the number and here's the seating arrangement, and you wear masks. Yeah, I might be down with that, but I'm with you, Chad. I understand an amusement park is outdoors, but I'm not sure how you can say that's okay, but, this isn't.
One more thing before we get, Chad's got something to bring up, and then we'll wrap this up. Also Saturday, Imagine Pro Wrestling in Altoona is back. They are inside. They haven't been compromised yet. It's still Allegheny County here in Pennsylvania that is taking a royal beating. Again, I hope they both get pulled off. I really do. For the Plumbers in Brownsville and everybody else, Katie Arquette to Calvin we're friends with that. We are legit friends with the IWC roster. So we hope this goes off. Imagine as well in Altoona, their numbers haven't been as drastic, but at any given point, Katie and I talked about it. Pennsylvania could just go yellow because we're getting hot again. All right, enough about that. So somebody might be doing a 2-off, by the way, Saturday, 1 o'clock at Brownsville, and hurry your ass up to Altoona by 7. Chris LaRusso, you better get your shit in gear. What do you got, Chad? One story.
Hey, two little quick things. Happy 100th birthday to Vince McMahon's
Speaking of
mom. Turned 100 years old today. So
She's still alive?
Yes. I did.
Oh, wow. Congratulations. Happy birthday.
I did not know that until I read on Twitter, and then other sites covered it. 100 years old today.
Wow.
Holy hell, has she seen everything in the wrestling business.
And condolences actually go to Linda McMahon as her mother passed a couple weeks ago. Steph finally released that.
The other thing, Drew McFuggle Pants, or whatever John was calling him.
Scotty Red Pants.
Scott, he is, the reports just coming out now. Plan is for him to drop the Lucky Charms Championship to Randy Orton at SummerSlam.
Yep.
Orton to defend against Edge at Royal Rumble, and then Orton to defend against Drew at next WrestleMania.
Oh, by the way, guys, this is show number 200.
Yay!
Wow!
I forgot from the beginning. It was in my notes. This is show number 200.
A milestone.
A milestone.
Did you ever think when you started this from the first show that you were going to get this far? And give me a out of character. Don't give me the Dick Mark answer.
No, really, no. There's been struggles. There's been tweaks and turns and everything. 200. It counts both. It counts the weekly show and the spotlights, our interviews. But, I mean, it's all Can Crusher LLC. Huh? How about that?
Wow.
Copyright.
Copyright. Did I think we'd get to 200? I don't know. We bullshit a lot about nothing and everything, but it's pretty awesome. It really is. And why I didn't lead with that, I'm an idiot.
Jackass.
Yeah, it's an important point.
Yeah.
It is an important point, but that's how much we celebrate. We're drinking. Are we going to do this right this week?
Yeah.
We could try. We've been trying for a fucking month, and this guy doesn't know the ending yet.
Just one closing point I wanted to make was
we're not going to hit that hour and a half, by the way.
Yeah, what can you do? I think NXT kicked AEW's ass.
I said that, and you were like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I think NXT was a lot better than AEW this week.
Yeah, and I didn't even love NXT, but I think it was a lot better simply because you can go back and watch every match. It was pretty much one big spot that won the match. One devastating move that won each match. And it made sense that the opponent didn't get up after that devastating move.
So
go back and watch. Go ahead.
Is that why you were texting and wondering and everything earlier this morning, afternoon?
Yeah, no. I just texted you. Did you like it? I didn't think you would. I thought that you might think it was, I don't know, not as exciting. I know you're not one for high spots, but I didn't think
the high spot match in AEW just buried it for me. The 8-man match, where you might as well have brought in the New England Patriots against the Denver Broncos, the Jets, and the Steelers, and let them headbutt each other, and great. That's what I got out of it.
And just too many false finishes already. Too many. I mean, the title for title match, that had a lot of false finishes, a lot of devastating moves with kickouts. But every match in AEW seemed to be a devastating false finish, you know? Anyway, that's my closing thought.
Oh, just real quick. Sorry, Mark, I forgot. New Japan Pro Wrestling, their cards with fans in attendance are resuming and will be on the network. New Japan World, $9.95, 11th and 12th of July.
Nice.
Quality wrestling, some of the stuff that's been taped so far, some surprises. Just quality wrestling, top to bottom. There's not a lot of stupid shit with them. So if you want to watch something, get into something semi-new, some different characters, brutal physical stuff, but not, stupid stuff, definitely take a look at New Japan World. Again, $9.99. When you subscribe, don't get worried about the 10,000 yen price. There is a conversion or whatever. Scared the shit out of me the first time. But yeah, it's $9.99.
I got off the phone with Chad Miller last night from OVW. A lot's going on. He'll be joining the show real quick. Take it away, boys.
Remember, Chad, just because you're trash, it doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's a garbage can, not a garbage cannot.
Holy Christ, he got it.
That was good.
That was good. It was good. See you Wednesday.